All right, let's dive into the invisible, high-stakes tech battle that's literally shaping our world every single second. Today, we're going to talk about the constant arms race between digital threats and the amazing, groundbreaking defenses we're building to fight back. I know. It sounds like the start of a really weird riddle, doesn't it? But the answer connects some of the biggest challenges and, honestly, the most exciting solutions in cybersecurity today. Stick with me, and you'll see exactly how this all clicks together. So, first things first, let's just get real about the digital world we all live in. It's not some peaceful, quiet place. It's a constantly shifting battlefield where our data, our systems, everything is always under siege. And the attacks are coming from everywhere. I mean, think about it. We've seen major flaws in everyday tools like 7-Zip. We've seen crypto-stealing malware hiding in plain sight on the official App Store and Google Play. There are even vulnerabilities in critical business software that have been exploited for years without anyone knowing. And now, with the boom in AI, we're seeing a whole new wave of attacks targeting APIs. The threats are just getting smarter and more widespread all the time. But here's the real kicker. The crazy number of attacks is only half the story. The other half, and maybe the part that's even more important, is how prepared or, unprepared we are to actually face them. And the data on this, well, it's pretty eye-opening. 3%. Let that sink in for a second. According to the Cloud Security Alliance, that's how many organizations have a dedicated budget for securing their SaaS applications. Just 3%. That tiny number points to a massive, gaping hole in our defenses, leaving so much critical data incredibly vulnerable. And this brings us to the fundamental challenge, right? If we can't stop every single attack and our data is always at risk, especially when we actually need to use it, what's the solution? How can we possibly analyze and work with our data while keeping it totally shielded from prying eyes? Well, the first part of the answer lies in completely rethinking how we protect the data itself. Imagine having a lockbox that's so secure you could actually work with what's inside without ever having to open it. Sounds like magic, right? This is a homomorphic encryption. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but the idea is an absolute game changer. It's a way of doing math and other operations directly on encrypted data. So instead of unlocking your data to work with it, you do all the calculations on the locked version. It's a total paradigm shift for data privacy. The process itself is surprisingly straightforward. First, you encrypt your sensitive data. Then, some other party, let's say a cloud service, can run a calculation directly on that scrambled encrypted data. Finally, they send the encrypted result back to you, you use your private key to decrypt it, and boom, you have the correct answer. The best part? The cloud service never ever saw your actual unencrypted information. And this really highlights the core difference. With the old way, there's always that one moment of extreme vulnerability. The split second when data is decrypted so you can work on it. That's the weak link. Homomorphic encryption just gets rid of that weak point entirely. The data never leaves its secure encrypted bubble, not even for a millisecond during processing. Okay, so having an unbreakable lockbox is fantastic. But what good is it if the armored truck carrying it gets lost or takes a bad route or gets hijacked? Protecting the data is absolutely crucial, but it's only half the battle. We also have to secure the roads and pathways it travels on. And this brings us to the second revolutionary solution, making our networks smarter. We're talking about building an infrastructure that can essentially drive itself, adapting and reacting to traffic, congestion, and even threats, all in real time. You see, the problem with our current networks, and this research really hits the nail on the head, is that they're just too rigid. They rely on these fixed, pre-programmed rules. But when you throw the incredibly dynamic and messy traffic of today's internet at them, these old methods just can't keep up. You get bottlenecks, you get slowdowns, you get all sorts of inefficiencies. So the answer is something called deep reinforcement learning, or DRL. It's a type of AI where systems learn by trial and error, getting rewards for making good decisions. The best analogy is a self-driving car. It learns the best way to get from A to B by constantly reading the road and reacting to its environment. DRL lets network routers do the exact same thing for our data. They learn from the network conditions to make smart, autonomous decisions to route traffic in the best way possible. And when you put them side by side, the advantages are just night and day. Traditional routing is static and dumb. DRL is dynamic and adaptive. The old way creates traffic jams. The new way actively finds the clearest paths to cut down on delays. And, this is the big one,
As our networks get bigger and crazier, traditional systems just can't scale. But DRL, it's literally designed to handle that kind of complexity.
So now we've got these two powerful technologies. One is like an unbreakable vault for our data, and the other is like an intelligent, self-driving highway system for it to travel on. And that brings us to the next digital frontier, where the future isn't about choosing one solution, but about combining them.
The future of our digital defense, then, isn't about finding one single magic bullet. It's about a powerful one-two punch. Smarter defenses like homomorphic encryption protecting the data itself, running on top of a smarter infrastructure that intelligently manages how it all gets from one place to another.
So this is what a truly future-proof strategy really looks like. On one hand, you use homomorphic encryption to lock down that critical weak point when data is being processed. And at the exact same time, you use deep reinforcement learning to build networks that aren't just dumb pipes for data, but are intelligent systems that can adapt, optimize, and maybe even heal themselves when threats pop up.
And all of this leaves us with one final, huge question to chew on. This constant innovation is incredible, but it also means the fight itself is always changing. As we build these smarter, more autonomous systems for our defense, we really have to ask ourselves, are we actually creating a safer digital world for everyone? Or are we just engineering a more complex and maybe even higher stakes battlefield for the future? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.